Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of Thoughts on Education by an initiative by College Dunya. Today, we have with us Dr. Umakant Dash from Institute of Rural Management, Anand. Dr. Umakant Dash is the director of Institute of Rural Management, Anand, IRMA. Prior to joining IRMA, he was professor and head of the Department of HNSS in Indian Institute of Technology, Madras, and adjunct professor, Indian Institute of Management, Tiruchirappalli. He holds a DHS in Health System Management from Tulane University, USA, and a PhD in Applied Economics from IIT Kanpur. He has nearly 2 decades of experience in academia and research with institutes of national and international repute like IIT Madras, Uttara University of Malaysia, and Birla Institute of Technology and Science, Pilani, in areas such as macroeconomics, financial economics, health economics, financial management, and etc. He is a published author in referred journals like Journal of Health Management, BMC Public Health, Journal of Health Research, the Journal of Economic Asymmetries, International Journal for Equities in Health, etc. He is an active public policy expert and has been a member of various committees and expert groups of the Government of India. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me in this show.
So, sir, my first question to you is that since you recently joined IRMA, when you first came to IRMA, what was your vision for the institute and has it evolved over the time, and how far along in implementing that vision for you?
Well, when I came to IRMA, I think my vision was the vision of IRMA was my vision, and I strongly believe in the vision of IRMA, which is primarily to contribute to the transformation of rural India and to serve the underserved segment of the India. And therefore, the vision which was set by our founder, Dr. Varghese Kurian, to lead in cutting-edge knowledge creation or create innovations in education, be it innovations in educations, or be it sustainability, or be it policy-oriented research. I think these are definitely the important building blocks of any institute, and IRMA being an institute specialized in rural management, I think these are very important. My vision is just to strengthen the set vision by the visionary Dr. Kurian, and to make the brand much stronger and visible. I think a couple of things which since I came from an academic institute, which is one of the best institute in India, in IRF ranking 1, and it is primarily research-driven institute. My vision, of course, is going to be emphasize more on policy-oriented research, how we are going to contribute to the development agencies and the government, be it the government of central government or state government or local government, in formulating their policy. So our main objective would be to create knowledge and disseminate the knowledge, not just holding the knowledge with us, but to disseminate the knowledge so that it is going to help the policymakers in making mid-course corrections if anything has gone wrong from what they thought of, or conceptualizing new policies, or ensuring the policies accomplish the set objectives. That's where I see IRMA plays a major role between the society and the government, and on the one hand, and even with the corporate, because corporate social responsibility being one of the main something which is picking up. So we have to ensure that the resources are optimally used by the corporate, which benefit the target audience, the target beneficiaries, and help in sustaining, not just spending, but how to make the projects, the programs sustainable. That's where I think, I strongly believe in sustainability, ecologically friendly and equitable socioeconomic development. So it's inclusive. We have to grow, and on the one hand, growth and development, that has to go hand in hand. If we grow without bothering about development, the growth, we can't sustain the growth. nor development is possible without the growth of the country. So therefore, we as an institute has to balance growth and development at the same time. That's still I believe in.
That's a wonderful thought, sir. So, being the director of IRMA, what is your philosophy of leadership and how would you describe your leadership style?
Well, I again, as a economist, I strongly believe. I believe people are rational, and I believe people. The premises with which I deal with people or do my leadership style is the trust, right? So, but trust is something very important in leading any organization or working with people. So I strongly believe in people-centric approach. So it should be not autocratic, but take people along with you, take colleagues along with you, and discuss, deliberate the issues that we confront or we face from time to time. And more important is the good governance, because once the governance is in place and the processes are streamlined, I think the job of the managers become very easy. The job of the administrator or as an administrator, I don't have to spend more time on administration. I have to look beyond administration. That is what I believe in as a institute builder, because we have to look beyond and see how the institute is going to grow, how the institute is going to benefit the society, and how we accomplish the set objective and go closer towards our vision and mission. Right. That's where even when I say participative approach, that is what I believe in. Even interestingly, at IRMA, even our students are called participants. They're not called students. Once they take admission in the institute, they become participants of the institute. So they are the stakeholders of the institute. So we involve them in almost every activities, and it's a collaborative process. Right, so that is what helps us in shaping their character, in shaping their they understand what are their responsibilities and how they can deliver what they are supposed to, and which are in line with again what we stand for. We stand for an equitable and sustainability, equitability, and all these are basically, they're part and parcel of our thinking process. At any stage, that is what we highlight on. So whether it is classroom teaching or whether it is meetings or whether it is interacting with any stakeholder of the institute, we believe in transparency. Because if things are transparent, then I don't think we have to bother too much in running in organizations. So I think my strong against, I believe in people. I trust people, because unless you trust people, people are not going to trust you. It's mutual respect, mutual trust. Those are the fundamental characteristic of any particular organization. So if with those things, I try to take people along with me. Sharing, it's not that the information is not available or would be available only one particular segment of the institute, right? Make sure people feel belonging. The institute is the institute for is owned by them. It's not that it's the property of a couple of people, or that sort of belongingness we have to cultivate. So once they feel belonging, once they feel it is their institute, I think naturally they will start contributing, and the institute is going to grow in many folds in all the dimensions. So that's basically the say people-centric, I would say.
So, sir, coming to the academic side in IRMA, so being the director, how do you try to bring in a practical approach towards the curriculum and make it more industry-oriented? Or, aligning it with the needs of the nation?
Yeah, I think again, IRMA we have structured the programs in such a manner that every stage, whatever we deliver, the content and the exposure is more or less related to the practice, the day-to-day experience we face in the rural economy or the economy as a whole. So all the programs are therefore carefully structured such that practical exposure forms a critical part of the learning process. And even when the students come to the campus or join the program, of course, because of the pandemic, this got affected in the last 2 rounds. But otherwise, in the very first term, they get exposed to the rural area. This being a rural management, unless you have seen the rural areas, unless you have understood the problems, the challenges that rural India faces. So sometimes somewhere you have to internalize. It's not the problem of rural India, but it is the problem of the participants. That's when you will able to understand the problem, you will be able to appreciate, and the solution that you think of, the strategies that you come up with will be more effective. So the students, they go in the first term, they go and spend that is what we call induction program. In the induction program, they go and spend 1 week in a rural area. Then after the first term, they go and spend 7 weeks, with close to 2 months in rural areas. And interestingly, I think that's the USP of our program. Again, they will be staying in the rural areas with the villagers. Right, they will be sharing. They will be staying as their guest in the village, and they will be observing the ecosystem the villagers live in and what kind of problems they face. They try to inculcate the value system, the culture. So these are all these important to understand, unpack the learning, what to learn and how to learn. So after 7 weeks, they come back and submit a report and discuss. So that is what we do in the first year. At the end of the first year, they even go for summer internship. So that's where sometimes the participants, they try to integrate the learning, what they learned in the villages with the corporate world. So be it marketing, be it HR, or be it finance, how will I integrate the objective of the corporate with the expectation, with the reality of the rural India, right? So these are the exposures which helps them in appreciating the content of the courses and linking the courses. So that's where, one part is direct exposure to the participant. And second thing, even when the faculties that deliver the lectures, the case studies, or the examples or the evidences that they collect through their research or through their interaction with development agencies or conducting management development programs, the learnings that we get, we transfer it to the students through our courses. So the case studies that we use, or the examples that we use, or the data that we use are real data from the field. So that's where we try to integrate. So it becomes sort of the practical approach becomes very much blended and part and parcel of the delivery process of the flagship programs or any particular course of this flagship program. Right, and finally, even we invite people from experts from, so for example, cooperatives, or from different NGOs who come regularly and experience this, says what kind of challenges they face and how they resolve. So these kind of continuous engagement with our field makes the courses more lively and interesting.
So, sir, coming to the challenges part, what are the biggest challenges that you see, both for rural management education in general and for IRMA specifically?
Okay. I think currently what the institutions or what the economy or the country as a whole we are facing, the academy, if you take academic sector, the problem is of high quantity and low quality. So we'll say there are many institutions, they are offering the programs of various nature. It's not that IRMA used to be one of the institute in late 70s or 80s. In 79 we started. So in the late 80s, late 90s, there were very few institutions catering to the programs related to, for example, rural development, rural management, or agro-business. But nowadays you'll see there are many organizations, many institutions. Every state you will find at least a couple of institutions who are standalone institutions, or maybe as one department you will find in many management institutions they have either rural management or agro business. So it's not of therefore there's no dearth of the institutions. We have many institutions, but the major challenge that we face is the quality of education that we impart. Attracting good say educators, because the major challenge is the HR. So we have to get good faculty, and then of course we have to have good infrastructure. You have to have good library and modern technologies, because nowadays of course you will see we have moved to the machine learning, artificial intelligence, cloud. So all these the latest technologies. So therefore, we have to get faculties who can integrate the problems that we face with the kind of knowledge that our students should have when to make them ready for the market. So most of the institutions, be it IIMs or be it IITs or be it any other institution, the major challenge that we face is getting the best faculty. Because if your input is not good, you can't expect the output to be the best. So it's basically input-output cycle only. If you get quality students, if you get committed students, if you get good resources, your output will definitely be the best. So the major challenge on the one hand is human resource, the other hand is again the expectation of the students have changed. So the expectation of the environment is changing. We are more bothered about our placement and whether I'm going to get placed or not. So it is becoming more of centered towards job, right? Less towards learning. So how of course we have to respect, but then how quickly or how are we going to use the time, the resources, and align our expectation with the expectation of the students? That is what is more challenging. That is once we align our expectation with their expectation, it becomes easier.
So, sir, coming to the last question for today, what do you think should be IRMA's top priority over the next 10 years?
The most, the top priority for me as a head of the institute and for IRMA as an Institute of Rural Management. Of course, when the institute was set up by the visionary Dr. Verghese Kurian, the father of the White Revolution, we started with a vision to transform the rural India, and one of our objective was to professionalize the organization that are serving the underserved segment of the country. So I think I'm sure we could able to accomplish the objective which was set, or the dream which Dr. Kurian had, and successfully we could able to produce 42 batches, so close to 3,500 odd change makers, whom we call the change makers. Again, we don't call them alumnus of the institute, but they are the change makers, and we are proud of the change makers. They are present everywhere. You take any particular sector, throughout the economy and at all levels. they are present, and we are proud of them. And they brought a lot of laurels to the institute. So what we the main priority for us is to make the vision, the institute, the vision stronger, and we want to make the objective which was set by Dr. Verghese Kurian. We have to accomplish, not only sustain it, but also make sure that we produce many more such change makers, because that is what is our major contribution to the society. So our top priority would be to produce change makers who are going to go to the field and make visible presence felt by changing the lives of the households. Because if each participant can change in their lifetime even 100, 200 lives of household, it's a big achievement for us. So that is the major responsibility of the institute. And I think even I'm proud to say that IRMA has produced so many change makers, and I'm honored to say that even the institute was honored to have the Vice President of India, Venkaiah Naidu, as the chief guest for the 40th Foundation Day. And I still remember him saying he lauded the contribution of the IRMA. He said IRMA had been working to build an India the way Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel and Mahatma Gandhi thought of and dreamt of. So that kind of target we are setting ourselves, and that is what is our priority. And even he lauded the institute's multifaceted and multi-pronged approach to rural management education. Because again, if you take the need of the hours, be it skill development, be it employment generation, be it the growth of the economy, even today's 40-50% of the economy lies in the rural areas. So our objective would be to create the personal social responsibility. We have to generate a personal social. It's not just corporate social responsibility, but we have to enlighten the personal social responsibility. If every individual is made aware of their social responsibility, and if every individual is sort of a sensitized, what are their responsibilities, what are the real rules, I think we have done our job. So our priority is again professionalizing the rural management education, and I think that is what the vision of Verghese Kurian, and all the principles that I told you about. Say sustainability, ecologically friendly and equitable socio-economic development, that is there in the DNA of all the participants of the institute. I'm happy to say that, be it students or be it partner for faculty or staff or other stakeholders, we believe in the principles which Dr. Verghese Kurian used to profess. And the priority is going to make it see not only the next 10 years, but even 100 years or 200 years down the line. So that is what is the most priority, to keep maintain the legacy of the institute and professionalize the rural organizations and even the social entrepreneurs. Agripreneurs or all these entrepreneurs. So I think that's where our job responsibility is going to be.
Sir, I think the whole concept that you shared of the participants carrying forward the legacy and, the vision that IRMA has and Dr. Kurian has, I hope that things pan out in the similar way for the next 10 years, because ultimately at the end of the day, it's a beautiful thought, and the institute has its own place in the management education landscape of India, a very different, unique place. So with that, we come to the end of this episode of Thoughts on Education, an initiative by College Dunya. We would like to thank Dr. Dash for taking out time from his busy schedule to speak with us today. It was nice interacting with you, sir. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much once again. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.